well as Chronicles of Narnia, we have the concept that the non-magical man are the main characters. You know, our hope lies in them, and really is outside of the magical control. So this leads us to Lord of the Rings and our two really iconic, or really one iconic wizard, getting away from the witches, but still witchcraft wizardry. Gandalf and Sherman. And one, you can see, they look alike. They've got the beard, they've got the staff, got the long hair, they're dressing in white, showing their order. The book published in 1954, and movie released in 2001. And you can kind of see that there's similarities as far as when the books are released, when the movies come out. Note that all of the movies are coming out right after Harry Potter starts taking off. So we have being toyed with because Gandalf is the good wizard, Saruman is the evil wizard. They're both dressed in light colors, but you can see their staffs. Okay, so then that leads us to Bewitched, where we have more toying with woman's role and witchcraft. We saw in Megan's presentation how women were supposed to be subservient. This is getting to the point in history when women are starting to branch out of the home. Now we still have the traditional housewife, but she is the one with the power in the relationship. She doesn't have an instrument of control, she just wiggles her nose, we all know that. And then the movie was remade, the TV show was made into a movie in 2005, where instead Nicole Kidman tugs on her ear instead of wiggling her nose, but she has even more power in that relationship. So you can see how women's role in society also affects the view of them in the media. So that leads us to Harry Potter. First book was published in England in 1994, came to America in 1995. It's just skyrocketed everything. Over 400 million copies sold as of June of this year, and it's been translated into 67 different languages. So in this, we have the boy wizard. He uses a wand. That's the traditional control instrument. And then the movies were released in 2001, and interestingly enough, all 8 movies are ranked in the top 32 on a list of worldwide box office sales, and the movie that just was released this summer, the final installment of the series, ranks number 3 under Lord of the Rings. Okay, and what I really wanted to get to was the portrayal of the witches and wizards. So we have the evil wizards, they're narcissistic, and we have good-looking wizards. It's not the traditional, oh, he's evil, he has to look bad that we get out of early texts. It was very common in the Renaissance. But we also have the really grotesque-looking ones. Colors still coming back a little bit. And then here we have the good wizards as more of a, I don't know if you want to call it a reverse Dorian Gray effect, where their looks are disfigured because of their good deeds. Moody is a wizard cop, basically, and fights, that's where he gets all of his scars from, so it's from his good deeds. And then we've got the traditional baddie wizard, hag, witch type thing going on. Which leads us to Voldemort, who is the main villain in the series. He kind of twists this looks ideology around. As a young boy, he's very attractive. Everyone's drawn to him. They're not quite sure why. And then because of all of the things he does, I guess you could tie he breaks his soul into 7 parts. You could look at that as, selling his soul to the devil if you want to. And then he becomes the snake-like being, which is, definitely grotesque. So that's more following the Dorian Gray effect. And then we've got our ambiguous wizards who start out bad, turn out to be good guys. Not going to go into too much detail there, but Dumbledore is basically the first Voldemort. Turns out to be Voldemort's greatest threat, aside from Harry Potter. And then Snape, who just kind of bounces back and forth. So this is a video I'm not going to show, but it's an interview with the cast of the movies as well as J.K. Rowling, and she went out of her way to say that, you know, I didn't write any clear-cut good or bad wizards, except for Voldemort, who is purely evil. So you can see that she's really trying to create more three-dimensional characters in her series. Okay. So this is a point in the third book, Prisoner of Azkaban, that was tying back more towards traditional views of witchcraft. So Harry's writing an essay titled "Witch Burning in the 14th Century Was Completely Pointless. Discuss." And then this is an excerpt from one of Harry's textbooks, A History of Magic. And it says, non-magic people, more commonly known as muggles, were particularly afraid of magic in medieval times, but not very good at recognizing it. On the rare occasion that they did catch a real witch or wizard, burning had no effect whatsoever. The witch or wizard would perform a basic flame-freezing charm and then pretend to shriek with pain while enjoying a gentle tickling sensation. Indeed, Gwendolyn the Weird enjoyed being burned so much that she allowed herself to be caught no less than 47 times in various disguises. So you can see she's kind of bringing back the traditional view, but also kind of making fun of it. And that's how it fits into her world. So I think one of the main draws to the series is that they're humanizing witches and wizards. They're not these otherworldly beings who have congress with the devil or anything like that, but they are real people. They have real problems that non-magical folk deal with. And I think that's partially what has led to the roaring success of the series, to the extent that if you go to King's Cross Station, where the train is supposed to leave to take you to Hogwarts, they have a platform 9 3/4 set up with a trolley partially in the wall. You're supposed to be able to go through the wall and reach the secret platform. They erected this, and then they had to move it because they had so many people coming to take pictures. They had to move it because it was congesting the platform. Harry Potter's fandom is almost embarrassing. But if you follow it, one of the big, I guess you could call it parodies, was Neil C. Sierra's Potter Puppet Pals. If you go to Wizard Conferences, they pop up, they have videos online. A few of the famous videos that they've done are wizard swears and mysterious ticking noise. They basically just, you know, make fun of the series. They've got a lot more with Snape now and his depression and making fun of Snape and, oh, he's such a sad person, let's go knock him unconscious. 2002, we saw the dawn of Wizard Rock, rock spelled with a W. Harry and the Potters was a band that performed for a group of friends, and then from then we just have a band for almost every character in the series. We've got Moaning Myrtles, we've got Gredden Forge, which was a joke in the series, and the Parselmouths, who like to sing songs like, what kind of name is Hermione? And I went with Draco to the Yule Ball. And so it's just meant in fun, but these people, they tour the country performing. So spawning off of Wizard Rock, we have the Harry Potter musical. The first one is called A Very Potter Musical, followed by A Very Potter Sequel. These were performed by a group in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And basically they took the books, wrote some songs about them, and performed them for free because Warner would give them to sell tickets. Songs from this would include Gotta Get Back to Hogwarts, I'm Harry Freakin' Potter, and Granger Danger, in which Ron and Draco sing a love song to Hermione. Here we have Lauren Lopez playing Draco Malfoy. She likes to roll around on the floor, she wears a diaper, everyone laughs at Malfoy. And then we have Ron, Harry, and Hermione, and it's another example of how you can take their characters and exaggerate them for comedic effect. The first video was uploaded July 5th of 2009, and since then has received over 7 million views on YouTube. This is something that was non-for-profit, it was just for fun, and it's led to the point where one in the middle, Darren Criss, he's now on Glee because of his huge fan following that came from these musicals. And as I mentioned, we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Universal Studios. I believe Harry Potter is the only fantasy novel to have its own theme park. I could be mistaken, but this opened June of 2010. You can go through, they've got a kind of tour ride where you can go and you can receive a wand. They've got gift shops. You can buy chocolate frogs, and you can drink butterbeer and all of these other confections that are only accessible if you read the books. But here, you can buy them, and people do go. Okay, so this brings us to J.K. Rowling's Pottermore.com. And it's still in the beta testing stage, but it's supposed to be opening to the public at the end of this month. It was launched on July 31st of this year, and basically it's going to be a dumping ground of all of her unused material. You know, background stories on characters that she didn't get to write into the series. It's a social networking site for hardcore fans, and it's also going to have a shop where she's going to be releasing the ebook versions of her novels. This is the only place you'll be able to buy them, and if this works out the way she's planning, she's basically revolutionizing the publishing field, because she's taking the sales of her novels into her own hands. You know, just take the company out. I'm going to sell the e-versions of my book. You have to buy them from me. And this could become a very common occurrence for future authors. If this works out for her, I can see publishing houses losing a lot of clients, at least for ebooks anyway. Just to wrap this up, Witch Frenzy today is something completely different than the Salem witch trials or the Renaissance. You know, it's cool to be a witch. You want to be able to do magic. We've got countless TV shows I wasn't even going to go into about, you know, just normal people who can do magic. And that's something that's very desirable. Now you have 11-year-olds waiting for letters from Hogwarts, which, you know, buy into that if you want to. But being able to do magic is a desirable thing, and it's a complete role reversal. And we do still have the continuation of magic as a religion, but the Wiccan occult is separated from what we consider the traditional evolution of magic. So we're not really combining those two. So I guess now we're going to open it up for discussion.
First, we have official response from our discussant, Joanna.
Okay. Well, I first of all want to say thank you to our presenters today. All three of them are seniors, and they are currently turning these projects into their capstone projects for their senior graduation requirements. So it was wonderful to see the early stages of this project, and I'm kind of hoping that you will let me have access to them when they are completed, because I think that will be fun. A few years ago, I actually purchased a wand for my 8-year-old nephew, and I wrote him a letter admitting him to Hogwarts, and gave it to him for Christmas. He was thrilled. But I think that this is definitely an indication that there is the ongoing questions and issues regarding the proliferation of witchcraft in our own day, as well as, you know, looking back and looking at the historical context from which it comes. I also know that there are many people in this room that have different perspectives on this, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to have everyone contribute to the conversation, because I know that our panel will benefit from that. The question that I was most interested in having the students express within their paper and within their projects, and hopefully we'll be able to have this addressed a little bit more within the discussion, is what is the cultural anxiety that is being addressed and it also within a couple ways, because you are not just looking at the exact time period in which you are studying. You're also looking at how that time period looks back and how it looks forward. And so you got a little bit more into that, Kelsey, because you are trying to live in the moment and look at how it goes back. But you also brought in popular cultural references from the modern day. Why is it that we still find this interesting?